Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon, and we're going to talk about Bill Gates, but we're not going to talk about Windows 11. We're going to talk about the enshittification of the world, not the enshittification of the Windows operating system. So Bill Gates is making the rounds again. Of course, this is after the whole Epstein thing. But this is an old video clip from him. I think it's about 2 years ago, where he's pushing for digital ID, and now we're starting to see digital ID getting pushed all over the place. Is he like the architect of this? Some people are saying that he's ushering in the mark of the beast. It's like Bill Gates. There are a lot of weird things going on with this guy. I'm going to be honest. I think he's into like, if you're into the conspiracy theories, I think if anybody's into some deep state stuff, it's Mr. Gates here. But we'll take a look at this clip, and then we'll see, that this is definitely making the rounds again. We've got Christian sites saying that Bill Gates is powering the rise of the beast, and this was just a couple of weeks ago. And I think this is before he was getting pushed back from the Gates Foundation, but I went out to the Gates Foundation, and they've got a whole page on digital ID. And some people really are starting to think that digital ID is, I guess if you believe all of that, the biblical prophecies, that it would be considered the mark of the beast, because you can't buy or sell anything without being branded with some kind of a barcode or whatever. And I think more and more companies are going to push for this. I believe a lot of them are pushing for it to sell you stuff. But it is concerning that digital ID seems to be this year's Vax Pass. Did you notice that? Like, all of a sudden, all these companies out of the blue are talking about digital ID. And it started out with, well, think of the children. The children are being harassed online. We need to have digital ID. And then think of all the racists out there. We need to make sure we can track them. And Microsoft Windows is one of the most invasive operating systems out there. Now, yes, I know he's not the CEO of Microsoft anymore, but I think his methodology, his DNA is still in that company. And this is a guy who was on the board until just a couple of years ago when he had, a scandal. So, yeah, I think Mr. Gates is all about this. This is the guy who was all for, pushing for the vaccines. And, if anybody's going to force us to eat bugs, it's probably going to be Bill Gates, right? And the Gates Foundation. Let's talk about this. I'm very curious about this because it is coming up an awful lot. He keeps coming up an awful lot as we have this discussion about digital IDs. So before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Hat tip to Mr. Milo, who sent this over, who used to write for Pirates and Princesses. A guy who's been with he was with the site for a very long time. A lot of our former staff actually do keep sending me some stuff, so it's always appreciated. But this just keeps popping up again and again. So let's take a look at the clip that kind of kicked this off, and I think this is from, I want to say, 2024. So let's listen to this.
Every country struggling to find that boundary. The U.S. is a tough one because we have the notion of the First Amendment. And so
the notion, the notion of the First Amendment, this is crazy idea.
What are the exceptions? Like yelling fire in a theater, and because you're anonymous online, it can be worse. I do think over time, with things like deep fakes, most of the time you're online, you're going to want to be in an environment where the people are truly identified. That is, they're connected to a real world identity that you trust instead of just people saying whatever they want.
That's screwy freedom of speech. How dare people just say what they want? Look, this is the slippery slope. I understand if people are saying some legitimately dangerous things. And I'm not talking, ideas that the state think are dangerous. I'm talking about, actually calling for violence against people, or, loading the gun, handing somebody the bullets, loading the gun, and then pointing them in the right direction. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what's going on in the UK right now, where you can't even retweet or repost or share the wrong thing, whatever the wrong thing is that day, without getting a knock at your door. And there are some people that would love to see that here in the U.S. Absolutely. But also it's a 2-for-1. So not only do you shut people up because everybody knows who you are, but also the government can track you, whatever you do, whatever you say. Corporations can track you, whatever you do, whatever you buy. And they already are. I mean, let's face it. So it's basically like having a cookie, but it's like your personal body cookie. Oh God, that sounds so bad. But you know what I'm saying? We're all going to be tagged like animals, and everything we do or say is going to be documented. And I do believe before it's all said and done, there will be some kind of a social credit score given to people. And everyone's like, well, that's not going to happen. Trump's in office. He's not always going to be in office. We're not always going to have a Republican president. We're not always going to have, and I'm going to be honest, some of these corporations, man, they're saying, hey, we're right wing, we're freedom of speech, whatever. Not really. No, if they think they can monetize you, they're going to do it. Look at Facebook. You know, it's like if they think they can monetize you, they're totally going to do it. Can't have those people saying whatever they want, man.
And so the idea of provenance, who sent me this email, was that really them? You know, we're going to have systems and behaviors that we're more aware of. Okay, who says that? Who created this?
This was a couple of years ago. And we're seeing it now. We're seeing it enacted now. This was in 2024. And like I said, it's like the memo went out this year that every company all of a sudden is all pushing for digital ID. Isn't it a little weird? I think it's a little weird. I think it's very weird. In lockstep, they're all like, oh yeah, we're going to roll out facial ID, facial recognition, digital ID. And then once one starts doing it, they all start doing it. And it really started with, at least as far as I can tell, like Roblox. Like they were trying to say, hey, we need to, take a look at it, make sure that adults aren't doing inappropriate things with kids. Even though I saw the other day, one of their developers got arrested for kiddie stuff. Boy, that tracks. And that's how they're going to sneak this in, right? And I'm not saying, we shouldn't do something to make sure that creeps and kids don't connect. But I don't think tagging everyone like a damn animal and following them around on the internet is exactly an ideal solution. What I could potentially see happen if everything requires a digital ID and you need to have a digital ID just to get on the internet, which is what I think is eventually going to happen. I think if you want to get on the internet, you have to have, photo ID, whatever. You want to, hell, they're trying to push it in operating systems right now. Right? You want to install Linux? Guess what? You got to have some kind of ID or verification. That's what's going to happen. All these companies are going to be like, you know what? It's just kind of like Bitcoin, except it's you. You're the number, right? And that brings me to the next thing, right? The reason I think this is making the rounds right now is I've seen these posts, and people are like, is Bill Gates the guy that's going to facilitate the mark of the beast? I mean, I think we have like variations of that if you think about it. I mean, look, if the mark of the beast is you literally can't buy or sell anything or exist. I mean, we've had social security numbers and barcodes for decades. This seems to be the next step. And I do believe before it's all said and done, this isn't to get all conspiracy theory or whatever, but I think before it's all said and done, there will be a uniform identifier for every human being on the planet. It'll be in a database of some kind. There already kind of is, but it's going to be a lot cleaner. It's basically you're born, you probably get a chip implanted in you somewhere. Chips are very, very small now. It's like tagging a dog and they don't even know it's there. You wouldn't even know it's there. You'd get it at birth. That would be your ID, and everything you do would probably be on this chip from the day you're born to the day you die. If you want to buy or sell something, that like they literally could turn your money off and on. They could literally turn the job opportunities off and on the chip. Just be like THX 1138 isn't doing what they're supposed to do. Oh, they posted something shitty on Facebook. Oh, THX, you shouldn't have done that because now you're not going to be able to buy groceries this week. We're going to turn your money off. We're going to drain your bank account. Yeah, you really should have just kept your damn mouth shut there. And I could see that happening, right? So here's the article in question. This is coming from Charisma, again, Christian Pentecostal magazine. So YMMV, but it is interesting that Gates is pushing for this, and Gates was also pushing for vaccines, and Gates does push for a lot of shit. And I thought maybe it's just some people are overreacting, but yeah, you got the Gates Foundation. Boom, there it is, digital ID. It's going to be an effective tool against poverty. A global solution is making it available to everybody. It's right on the damn website. Our global identity problem. For 850 million people around the world, they don't have any acceptable form of legal identity. It eases access to employment and education, as well as services such as banking, government programs, and healthcare. Enter the digital ID. A formidable solution has emerged, an open source customizable digital identifying solution called Modular Open Source Identity Platform, MOSIP, that is available to all countries for free. We're here to help you. It's a critical piece of digital public infrastructure. They want to enroll 99% of all Indian adults into the digital ID program. And this was, again, a couple of years ago. And so they're really pushing this at the Gates Foundation, right? Unfortunately, Bill couldn't keep it in his pants. But yeah, so this is, again, coming from Charisma Magazine, though. But they said, in a resurfaced 2024 clip, Gates praised India's digital public infrastructure, highlighting systems that merge biometric identity, banking, and payments. That's basic structure that starts with identity and bank accounts, and payments is just foundational, Gates said, applauding India's ability to distribute government benefits through digital ID systems. And again, this isn't to get tinfoil hat, but I have been noticing that a lot of these tech companies, there are individuals from a certain geographic location that just happens to really dig this digital ID. I'm just saying, and they're being installed at Microsoft, and they're being hired at Google. I don't know. I mean, again, this is like crazy tinfoil hat stuff, and it might be a leap, but clearly Bill Gates is very much pro digital ID, and depending on who you are, that could be a very scary thing. It could be. Okay, this is Cap Chatfield says the mark of the beast is being built right now, and here's what you need to know. A system that integrates biometric IDs with bank accounts and payment systems. What Gates is celebrating is the merger of identity verification, financial access, and behavioral tracking into a single infrastructure. Yeah, all the technology is there. Now whether or not that's going to be like a biblical mark of the beast, I don't know. But I don't think you're going to be able to do anything in 10 years, 20 years without having some kind of digital verification. And at this point, we can only delay it, but that's what the groundwork is being laid for. Like all of this AI stuff, all this stuff, I think it's all connected to just tracking us and controlling us. That is my opinion. And I think we need to reject that ID. Reject the ID, but I think we need to reject the idea of, having these corporations and having these governments tag us like animals, because you centralize all that power, and you get somebody in there, call them an antichrist or call them whatever you want to, somebody who's mad with power, and if they control everything, it's not gonna be a good situation. It could even be just some maniacal CEO, and we've got a couple of those already. But this is interesting. It said Microsoft's patent number is WO2020060606, shortened online to 060606. The patent describes a cryptocurrency system using body activity data where a sensor is connected to a user's device, monitoring biological activity, brain waves, body heat, and physical motion. And that biological data could be used to verify mining or earning crypto. Wow, I don't know. This is kind of a leap, but I'll have to look into that. I will have to look into the patent number. Well, shit, there it is. Yeah, there it is. Patents. 060606, cryptocurrency system using body activity data. Human body activity associated with a task provided to a user may be used in a mining process of crypto. A server may provide a task to a device of a user which is communicatively coupled to the server. So basically, you would have to be connected to that system to earn money to be able to buy and sell stuff. And the patent number is 060606. Well, that's a little concerning. I'm just saying, I mean, could all be a coincidence, but if it were me and I were working at Microsoft or whatever, I'd be like, yeah, let's not go with 666, right? Yeah. It's a genuine patent for Microsoft in 2019. 2019, right before the pandemic. And Bill Gates is all about interesting. That's very interesting. So yeah, here's a fact check on it. Microsoft and Bill Gates have filed a patent numbered 666 for the microchip, which is inserted to the body, which rewards activity with crypto. Our verdict, Microsoft's 666 patent doesn't reference injectable chips. It is true that Microsoft has a patent application with the number 666 in it, but it's for a system which rewards physical activity with crypto. Pretty similar. I'm just saying. So there it is. I think we're going to hear a lot more about the situation with Bill Gates. Watch Bill Gates. Bill Gates concerns me greatly. And it's not just because he's making or was behind the company that makes a shitty operating system. But remember, too, almost every computer on the planet is running Microsoft software. The entire planet runs on Microsoft. Windows went down. Remember, was it last year or the year before? It went down, and the whole world stopped, pretty much. Something to think about, Put your tinfoil hat on. Sleep tight. I'm going to wrap it up. Please subscribe. We'll talk later.